Let's begin with a hypothetical scenario. James, a 25-year-old engineer working at a firm in the US. Before he moved to the US, he mutually broke up with his long term girlfriend Patricia. It's been 3 years they haven't seen each other. Simone, James' little niece, wants to watch the movie Frozen today. It's a movie on sibling love. Both you and I would think that James could go through the next 109 minutes fairly easily. But there comes Olaf on the screen saying, love is putting someone else's needs before yours. Ouch. Right in the feels. A punch directly to his heart. We have James going down one rabbit hole after the other, and in just 15 minutes, he is here, questioning his very self-worth. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever had your heart broken like James? Has James really moved on? How long does it take for a broken heart to heal? As a teacher at an institute with students in the age group of 17 to 22, it's fairly common for us to see heartbreaks. Adolescence is this age of strong emotional, social, physical relationships, especially romantic ones. When you stand at the corridor minutes before your lecture, you see these students walking around with smiles in their eyes when they are in this phase of nothing's gonna change my love for you. And then again, you see the same number, if not more, students with tears in their eyes when they reach this phase of I'm never gonna fall in love again. Psychiatrist Sham Bhatt, in his book How to Heal a Broken Heart, says that after exam stress, it is a broken heart that affects most of the youth of our country. And this brings to mind something that one of my students, a Harry Potter fan just like me, once told me. How I wish I could just erase these memories, just obliviate each and every one of them. However, heartbreak can come in many forms. The most common one that we all talk about is the heartbreak that comes from romantic relationships, thanks to all the Bollywood movies we've been watching. The ones that come from romantic relationships can be because of a breakup, a betrayal, a divorce after years of being married. But as I said, heartbreak can come in many forms. It could be that because of an abusive relationship with your parents, a co-worker, or even your best friend. A UNICEF study states that parents in India use over 30 different types of punishments to discipline their kids in the age group of 0 to 6 years. And these kids face lifelong impacts of such punishments, some of them never being able to love again. A heartbreak can also come in the form of your business partner walking away for a better opportunity. The 2 or 3 of you have spent months, if not years, carefully planning each and every step that you want to take. And the day this person leaves, you over there, all alone, you could feel like there's no going ahead from you. Whatever the heartbreak, it belongs to any one of these categories. It could be rejection, betrayal, or loss. Now, just like heartbreak can come in any form, the thing about heartbreak is that it can come to you at any age. A 17-year-old student sitting on the second bench of my engineering classroom is as prone to heartbreak as is a 70-year-old retired banker. Just as Olaf reminded James of Patricia, and after 3 years of not seeing her, he still remembers that smile that she used to have every time he tucked her hair behind her left ear. And now here he is, sitting with his phone, checking her Instagram profile to see if that photo which they once clicked when they were on that hike together is still on her page. Here he is, rereading all those WhatsApp conversations that he once archived. A small part of him hoping that she misses him too. Why is it that we always want to relive those memories that we have in this tiny little box somewhere in the corner of our heart? A difficult question to answer, isn't it? Let's make it a little easier. Remember the time when you're exercising in the gym and you believe that that sweat is going to let you conquer the world? Remember that time when you sat alone at home and no one was looking at you and you relished an entire bar of Cadbury all by yourself? It's exactly that feeling. Exactly that reason why we go back to all those beautiful memories. It's the dopamine. Why is it that we remember their beautiful smile but not that frown? Why is it that we remember all those beautiful moments we spent together but not all the millions of ugly fights you probably had? When you are in love, you have this unmatched energy. And this could be any kind of love. It could be the love for your parent, your spouse, your kid, your car, your pet, or even your job. This love makes you believe that you can turn impossible things into possible things. What then happens when we lose this love? If you've ever been in love, you remember that time when you were heartbroken and you connected with that one sad song. It was like the lyricist knew exactly what you were going through and the singer actually felt your pain. Like that one particular song was written just for your aching heart. And we all have that song, don't we? Just that one song. When you go through a heartbreak, all the dopamine, all the oxytocin that you felt is replaced by high cortisol levels. All logic just goes out of the window. Let's consider two scenarios. One in which you spill a hot cup of coffee on your hand and you feel this excruciating pain. Second, in which it's a beautiful Sunday morning and you are here sitting with your phone looking at the photos of your former lover and you feel a different kind of pain. On the surface, these two pains are very different. But cultures around the world use languages such as hurt and pain to describe both of them. How different do you think is this physical pain and the pain that you feel from a broken relationship? A 2011 study states that your brain has similar activities when you spill a hot cup of coffee on your hand and when you look at the photo of a former lover. They go on to say that morphine can take away the pain of a broken heart. When you go through a heartbreak, you face similar withdrawal symptoms like addiction. Remember the number of times that you checked your Facebook and Instagram profile after you had the breakup? Probably way more times than you did it when you were together. I sure know I did that. And that one photo where you got 593 likes and 40 comments, that one in which he had his arm around you, doesn't really help now, does it? How many times did you pick up your phone to type out a text message and then delete it? Or even worse, end up sending that message? How many times did you pick up your phone to make a call because you just wanted to hear their voice one more time? How long did it take for you to delete their phone number? And what's worse, some of us still remember their number. Every time you pick your phone to send that message, or you check their social media page, you are feeding that addiction. And technology today has made it so difficult for us to forget anything. 5 years after your relationship ended, you've got Facebook that reminds you you have memories. And hope can be destructive when you are healing from a broken heart. This hope that they are going through the same thing, this hope that they are missing you, the hope that they are just, if not more, miserable than you are currently feeling. 2008, my first heartbreak. I was in love, or so I thought I was, but he wasn't. And my reaction to this first rejection was to take my heart, put it in a box, lock it, and throw away the key. Divert all of my energy into studying. I definitely did amazingly well in my undergrads, but not a smart decision. It actually took me years to realize that a broken heart, just like any other physical injury, needs a long time to heal. But again, who wants to hear the story of a teenager who's broken her heart? Termed as puppy love, isn't it? 2014, a second heartbreak. This time, it was me walking away from a business. Something that we built from scratch, something we really worked towards every single day. And just like that, all my plans for my future career were gone. It was I who walked away. And yet here I was, both angry and sad. There was so much I wanted to say. But at that time, all that came out was, why? And what did I do? I immersed myself into the next job I took. Again, permanent decisions of never having my own venture again, thinking it's not my cup of tea. 2018, a third heartbreak. This time, it was the loss of a very close friend. My first loss where I couldn't question anyone. Whom do I ask? At this point, just getting out of bed became difficult. Barely functioning at a job where I was excelling became difficult. There was this physical pain that I felt, a tight feeling around my chest, something that I just couldn't explain. And it was this heartbreak that made me realize that I have been living from moment to moment. Good job, great family, amazing husband. What more can one ask for? That's all we want. But at this point, I realized that I need to slow down and need to make time for things and people that matter the most to me. When we go through a heartbreak, it's like the character from our life has been erased, and now you need to sit here and rewrite your story. And there'll be so many people who'll stand there telling you, it's going to be okay with time. Just give it some time. समय के साथ सब ठीक हो जाता है. We believe that bad feelings are just going to go away. But it's not that easy to get over a betrayal or a loss. It is not as simple as sleeping off a bad hangover. When you go through a heartbreak, people will tell you to wait it out as if there was a storm overhead. and you could just wait it out. But if you've gone through a heartbreak, you do know that every storm in your life comes with its own share of damage, and you have to stand up and lay that groundwork to put your life back on track. It took me 3 major heartbreaks to learn these lessons in life. Let go of what other people think about you. They're going to talk about you. They're going to misunderstand you. They're going to gossip about you. Their opinion is their problem and not yours. Let go of that statement, not yet. We've all done that. I'm not yet ready to go to that restaurant where we ate together. I'm not yet ready to go out with my friends. I'm going to mark out all these points on the map, and I'm not yet ready to go to these lanes. I'm not yet ready to smile again. Pick up a piece of paper, make a list of all those places and those things that you've not been doing, and start doing them right now. Third, and the most important one, let go of taking things personally. When you take things personally, it is emotionally draining, and it is a constant and unnecessary re-evaluation of your self-esteem. Do not make anyone let you feel like you are the victim. Theoretically, all of these things seem really simple, but when you actually have to do it, it's difficult. Step number 1 is right after this talk. Just tell yourself, dude, I got this, and I'm going to get this done. But here's the best part, and we all know this. The sun always shines when the storm passes by. All you have to do is have the patience to wait for some time and have the courage to let it go. And just ask yourself this one question. Are you ready to fall in love again? Because I did. And that is the best thing that ever happened to me. Thank you.